I will call the regular meeting of the Lisle Park District Board of Commissioners, Thursday, June 19th, 2025 at 7 PM to order. Dan, can I get a roll call vote?
Sure. Commissioner Wessel,
Here.
Commissioner Tapella,
Here.
Commissioner Nadeau,
Here.
Commissioner Pereira,
Here.
President Alpeter.
Here. Can everyone rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Since Scott's not here, Dan, would you like to introduce our special presentation from SICKIT?
Sure. This is
2024 Annual Comprehensive Audit Report.
absolutely. This is Nick Bava from SIGIT here to present the 2024 Annual Comprehensive Audit Report. The draft, I guess, because there's still some missing info, but I'm assuming you can explain that.
Yeah, we'll touch on that. Can you hear me okay? Is this on?
We did. Who did we have last year? Who was last
Better?
year from SICKIT? Anthony? I don't know. Anthony.
All right. Can you hear me okay? Scott, can you hear me? I see you on the big screen.
Can you hear him okay, Scott? Okay.
All right. Well, thank you. Hi, everybody. Nick Bava, partner at SICKIT, here to present the results of the district's audit for December 31st, 2024. As Dan alluded to, so the reports that we have in front of you, they are in draft form. It's a little out of the ordinary. It has nothing to do with anything for the district or anything on our end in terms of the audit. But the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund typically issues their audit report, their opinions over the actuarial information that comes into the district's audit. That typically is available at the end of May. They've encountered some challenges and some delays in their audit. And until that information is made available, we're not allowed to issue our opinions because there's such significant estimates, actuarial information that goes into this audit and any other governmental audit here in Illinois. So we don't expect there to be any changes in terms of the information that we have in front of you tonight related to IMRF. But that's why we're presenting to you in draft form. So I'll go through the results of a few items in the annual comprehensive financial report, but as always, be happy to answer any questions that the board would have over this audit, the process, or anything of the like. So
Can I just have a quick question before you
Sure.
begin? So will we be receiving supplemental materials then after you receive those audited reports that you're waiting for?
So once those reports come in, we'll review them and ensure that the opinions on those reports are clean, and then we'll essentially remove the draft watermark on this report and finalize it in its current state. So,
Yeah. Okay.
and we don't have any expectation that those opinions won't be clean, but until we have them in hand and they're made available to the public, we're not able to finalize any Illinois audit that has IMRF.
So basically you based it just on the information we provided about IMRF.
So we have some information that's presented for the district that is included in the report tonight, specifically actuarial information. There's footnotes, things like that, and I'll touch on some of the numbers there. But yes, those really aren't determined as final until the auditors of IMRF essentially say so, and their opinions state that.
Okay.
So yeah, a little out of the ordinary, but we'll work through it. And I don't expect it to prevent the district from finalizing by the end of the month, which is the deadline for governments with December 31st year end. So we'll work with Scott on that to make sure that everything's kosher there, but I appreciate your understanding and kind of out of our control, unfortunately.
Got it. No, you explained that great. Thank you.
Thank you. So in the annual comprehensive financial report, we'll start on, it sounds like you all have hard copies, so I'll shout out page numbers. We'll start on page Roman numeral number 3, which is the GFOA, Government Finance Officers Association. It's the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. This is the 23rd award that the district has received. It's for the December 31st, 2023 audit report. What this means is that the district has gone above and beyond the minimum reporting requirements set by the state and by generally accepted accounting principles. So this report includes more information. There's more introductory information. There's statistical information. Essentially, it's really prepared in the spirit of full disclosure to to the residents or those that are interested in the financial information of the district. So, commend and congratulate the district for continuing to do this and go above and beyond what's required here in the state. As far as the opinions that we have, we'll start on page number 1, and that's titled the Independent Auditor's Report. So this is our opinion on the financial statements and for the respective opinion units. So you have the governmental activities, business type activities, which is the golf course, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information. So what we've issued is referred to as an unmodified opinion on the financial statements. That is a clean opinion and the highest level of assurance that we as auditors can provide an organization like Lisle Park District. So what that means is these financial statements are free of material misstatement and can be relied on for whatever purpose is necessary. So all good news as far as the financial statement opinion is concerned. If we follow these few pages and move to page number 5, pages 5 and 6 are new in terms of, historical grant spending for Lisle Park District. This is our independent auditor's report on internal control over financial reporting in accordance with government auditing standards. So this is an opinion that may or may not occur depending on the level of grant spending for an organization like Lisle Park District. In the case of fiscal year 2024, there was $600,000 in grant spending towards the Tate Woods Park. And that was through the Open Space Land Acquisition and Development Grant. So because those expenditures were incurred and spent during fiscal year 24 and their state grant, we had to issue a separate opinion over that. And that's in compliance with the Grant Accountability and Transparency Act. So there's also a separate report that we have to issue and work with Scott and Dan on to submit once finalized here at the end of the month. It's interesting. I drove by Tate Woods Park on my way here, and there's plenty of pickleball going on. So it was nice to see the project kind of complete and the people over at the park there. So on page number 6, this talks about report on compliance and our tests. We did have to perform additional compliance tests in accordance with what the state calls for. Pleased to report we didn't identify any instances of non-compliance or question costs that we would have to disclose to you all here tonight. So overall, as far as the financial statement opinion and the compliance opinion, all good news, and no concerns noted there. Following this section is the management's discussion and analysis. This is on page MD&A 1. This is an 11-page section, and it's really the executive summary that precedes the financial statements themselves. It is a great opportunity for management to shed some light on what occurred during the fiscal year, discuss certain reasons for changes, increases, or decreases, and is really a great segue into those financial statements themselves. I always suggest that this is a nice way to supplement your review of the financial. So it's prepared by Scott, reviewed by us to ensure the information is consistent, but again, a good executive summary leading into the financial statements themselves. In the financial statements, we'll start on page number 10. Page number 10 is the beginning of the fund financial statements. Certainly the information that the board is more consistently hearing on a monthly basis, and the focus on these statements is fund balance. So it's organized by the large activity funds of the district. So the general fund, recreation fund, debt service, and capital projects. Those are called major funds and historically have been major funds, just simply based on the volume of activity, transactional activity. So the general fund on the far left of this page shows at the bottom left of the schedule shows the unassigned fund balance position of 2.4 million. This is the reserve for the general fund. And what this means is that it's your reserve and it's available spending at the discretion of the board and of management. So comparing this reserve to operating expenditures for the year, policy is 50% of operating expenditures should be in the reserve. This is about 79%. So in compliance with the fund balance policy set by the board. Recreation fund amounts to about 1.5 million at the end of the year. Debt service amounts restricted for debt service at 69,000, and then capital projects amounts assigned for future capital projects at 2.3 million. Overall, when you look at page number 12, this is revenues over expenses. Overall, positive year for the general fund, and some of that surplus was transferred over to capital, I believe towards the end of the fiscal year. Overall positive change in fund balance is 680,000. Recreation had a positive year, a little over 100,000. Debt service broke even, which is typical in terms of taxes coming in to fund debt service. And capital projects had a positive year after the issuance of bonds as well as the transfer in from the general fund. So good years overall in terms of the really the four main operating funds of the district. Page number 15. This is the statement of revenues, expenses, changes in net position for the Riverbend Golf Course Fund. Overall, looking at the year operating income, so revenues over expenses in terms of operating the golf course, just shy of 300,000. So another positive year and continuing to see positive growth at the golf course. After some minor operating revenues, positive change in net position of 315,000. So overall, really good years in terms of these five funds that we've talked about. Now, further down the report is the IMRF schedules, and those are on pages 46 and 47. So pages 46 and 47 represent the schedule of changes in the district's net pension liability or asset. As we know, the defined benefit pension plan for district employees is IMRF. And this was most recently measured as of December 31st, 2024. So on the far bottom right of page 46, you'll see a figure in brackets, 690,000. Right next to that figure is a number in brackets, 543,000. So the 690,000 is what we refer to as a net pension asset. So that is the actuarially determined figure in terms of where certain pension funding is for the district at year end. So net pension asset is much better than a net pension liability, right? And on page number 47, you'll see at the top right of that schedule, there's a percentage under 2024 of 104%, and in 2023, just shy of 104%. So what that means is that the assets that the district has set aside to fund pensions for the district and its employees, it's currently above the necessary requirements, which results in a net pension asset. And overall, it's just been a reflection of the forethought of funding this pension and ultimately reducing the employer costs down the road. So overall, you've seen, I think, employer contributions were at 51,000 this year compared to 85,000 last year. So overall, essentially, it's a 2% employer contribution, which is it's a significantly low number, and it's really a reflection of fiscal responsibility over this plan. I don't see many net pension assets with the clients that I work with, so I just think it's important to call that out and just commend the district for doing that. Now, as always, with pensions and actuarial information and the market, right, as these items ebb and flow, so does this figure. But overall, the district has done a nice job of funding this, and that's represented here in this figure. So that's the financial information I wanted to call out with you tonight. I'll just wrap up by saying thank you to Scott. Thank you to Scott and his team. We were out in February, and everything really went smoothly in terms of our field work. Like I said, I expect to issue everything here by the end of the month. But again, thank you for having me tonight. I don't know if there's any questions, but I'd be happy to answer them.
No.
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 Thank you, Nick.
Nick.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott, too.
Yeah. Oh, me. Thank you. Public comment. Visitors are welcome to address the Board of Park Commissioners. You are asked to raise your hand and wait to be recognized by the board president. When recognized, please move to the lectern, speak into the microphone, and state your name, address, and the item you wish to discuss. It is requested that one spokesperson for a group be appointed to present the views of the entire group, rather than have multiple individuals repeat similar opinions. There will be a 5-minute time limit per speaker. You can go to the thing. Dan, are you going to time since Scott's gone?
Oh, yep. Thank you for the reminder.
Need a time? Do you need to take
We need
notes?
to do time too.
Oh,
Matters.
yeah, sure.
You have to take notes. I
Welcome
can-
couple of fresh
I-
faces. I'm sorry.
Hold on 1 second. Yeah, go ahead.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, it's going.
Is it on?
Yeah.
I got-
Scott, you heard okay, right? You heard
Yeah.
Nick okay?
Yes, sir.
Are you timing?
Yeah, I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, welcome, Jeff. Welcome, Wendy. My name is Vitas Matulauskas, resident of Abbeywood Park. I'm both a neighbor of the pickleball courts and a pickleball player, as well as a member of USA Pickleball Association. Let me begin by recognizing the Park District's many achievements. Your work in maintaining our parks, aquatic center, golf course, and organizing events brings tremendous value to our community. Your efforts deserve sincere appreciation. Thank you. That said, I come before you today in a very difficult position. I'm someone who deeply values recreation and community health, yet I find myself living just 45 feet from pickleball court that has turned into serious source of harm for my family and me. Over the past few years, I've voiced concerns that at times may have been misinterpreted, maybe overly emotional or isolated. But this is not about personality. This is about health, science, and fairness. And it's just not me anymore. Credible research I have shared with you just a few days ago now confirms that long-term exposure to pickleball noise causes significant stress-related health effects. In my case, this has been deeply personal. I recently underwent heart stent surgery and last month experienced serious internal bleeding, close to death situation. Conditions my physicians agree were likely worsened by chronic stress. We as seniors, we might be close in age to your own parents. You should ask yourself honestly, would you allow your parents to endure this kind of daily noise and health impact in their home? Most likely no. A year ago, 23 residents of Valley Forge Park said no to pickleball noise in a petition, and you all agreed. So we, the only one left with the noise. Everybody else is taken care of. Something's wrong with that. Critical misunderstanding persists. Pickleball players and adjacent residents do not experience this noise the same way. It's exactly opposite. For the players, it's a social, recreational sound, provides pleasure, helps them play, helps them focus. For us, it's relentless, invasive audio assault. This is why this problem is very complex and cannot be resolved without honest dialogue and genuine empathy. I would like to thank Commissioner Terry. A couple of years ago before election, she met me at the park on the coldest day of the spring. It was memorable. Thank you. That kind of leadership matters. And I look forward to the opportunity to engage with Jeff, Wendy, and others in the same constructive spirit. Let's have a fresh start. Tonight, there's a proposal for electronic gate. Does the lock eliminate daytime noise? No. Maybe it's better to redirect those funds towards real evidence-based solutions. We are now in communication with village trustees and the mayor. It's about ensuring that parks remain a source of well-being for all residents, not a cause of harm for some. Again, please talk to us. Hear what we have to say. Here are proposals. Let's find a solution together.
About 1 minute, Vitas.
I'm ready to work with all of you toward a resolution that reflects our community's value of fairness, health, and respect. Thank you. I hope you agree to meet me and my wife at my residence or at the park or at this place. I would really love to talk to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Obviously, we can't do that, but I will entertain a motion to approve the meeting agenda as submitted for Thursday, June 19th, 2025.
So moved.
Second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items inclusive of the June 2025 voucher list in the amount of $1,019,896.78.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can I get a roll call vote, Dan?
Sure. Commissioner Capella,
Aye.
Commissioner Wessel,
Aye.
Commissioner Nadeau,
Aye.
Commissioner Pereira,
Aye.
President Alpeter.
Aye. Motion passes. We have communications in your packet from the DuPage Nation Garden Club, the thank you letter. We have unfinished business. We have down to talk about Abbey Wood pickleball courts. We have staff report that was submitted in our packet. uh, Regarding that. I know previously we had directed staff to look into getting a gate to limit the hours. I think since then, this summer, I don't believe that we've had actually any before or after hour complaints. Have we, Dan?
Not that we've heard.
Not that,
Right.
right. Not
Right.
from the police or anything
Mm-mm.
that we've heard. I believe they said the cost was $5,000 to $6,000 to install the gate lock. So I guess just as a board, if we want to talk about, if we still want to proceed forward with that, or any other, discussion someone, might want to start.
I'd say according to, or specific to the gate lock discussion, I think it was a good idea for us to service it and look at what our options are. I think based on the fact though that we haven't had any recurring issues, I think the investment at this time is probably, at least my opinion, not a wise decision to move forward with the gate. I do think that if we find that there's an uptick in abuse of the operating hours of the park, we could always revisit it in the future. It's not one of those things that once we take it off the table, it can never be revisited again. But I don't know that right now an installation of a gate would make a significant difference.
Does anyone else have an opinion?
I agree. I don't think we need to spend the money on the gate.
And I don't think it would be an ultimate solution. So I don't think it would abate the issues that some.
Can you
of the
guys talk in the
neighbors
mic? Because I
Yeah,
know
just-
Dan, it's hard to hear on the video if you guys don't.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dan. I
No,
know you're
that's
looking at
okay.
me saying, please
No.
get him to talk in the mic.
make. Yeah. But it's rather expensive and I don't know that it would really solve anything for the people that do have an issue with the current situation. So I'd rather keep that in our pocket and potentially use it for
Yeah, I
other
mean,
remedies.
Oh, sorry, didn't mean to talk over you.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, I agree. I think back in March, I think I was the one that proposed at least Dan to look into the game. If it's not going to do anything, then what's the point? So yeah, there's no point in putting.
Okay,
a
so thanks for
$6,000 gate
staff
up.
time on that. I guess we're not directing you to take any further action on the gate. We'll table it again to revisit it if we do find that we have a recurring problem, but that problem seemed to have went away from a couple years ago. That being said, I know we've had other discussions. Are we looking to, just throwing out there, are we looking to make any changes to those courts out there? I know we said we would rediscuss this after Tate Woods had been open for a season, and we've had it now, we're into season and we've seen it. I know I personally have driven by the courts constantly over at Abbey Wood, and it's very rare now I see anybody over there at all playing. But I do see that Tate Woods is pretty packed. I know that I happened to drive by the other morning and I did see two people playing pickleball over there, but there was no car. So I'm believing that the intended use of that is probably residents in that community that are using it and not, we've moved programming immediately for those residents. We moved it first to Community Park and then ultimately to Tate Woods Park. We've limited the hours. I feel like, we've made some good concessions. And now at least to me, when I drive by, it seems like it's a pretty minimally used park, but still enjoyed by the residents of that active lifestyle community.
Yeah, I would add, so I'm glad we're revisiting this. I know that as a board last year before the winter, we committed to revisiting once we had new board members on and once we had the whole season of the new Tate Woods to kind of see what is the actual transition of the use of that park. I know historically the complaint was that Abbey Wood was overutilized because that's where we had all of our programming, which is understandable, right? It's a neighborhood park. And so part of our focus to transition that was to say, how do we take this programming, maintain that for our residents, but move it into a location that's more appropriate for what we're trying to do? I think that's been largely successful, and I think our time to take a look at how that's been effective has been well spent. That being said, though, I think revisiting, there's a couple of options that I think we have on the table for revisiting where we're at now currently. I agree with Carrie that the use of the park has absolutely gone down from when we were using programming there. I do know it's still used though, right? Which is wonderful. I think it's being used, in my opinion, in the way that that park was now intended to be used. You get a lot of walkers that are coming. It's the local residents. We're not seeing as much, people coming from far distances and, spending all day at the courts, which is exactly what we were hoping and wanting. However, I do think because it's a local neighborhood park, there are things that we have an opportunity to visit and decide on whether or not we want to do that wouldn't be a change in rule. I don't think that we're in a position to make any change of regulation or anything like that. I think we have proper regulation already in place as far as operating hours of our facilities. But given that it is a neighborhood park, I think I'm curious to find out what you guys think on this as well. I think that we can visit the encouragement of using either quiet paddles or quiet balls. We can't enforce it. And I would never take a position where I think that we need to try enforcing a change like that. It's just not realistic. But I do think it's something where we could give information and education to those using that area to encourage them to use it if it's something that fits within their wheelhouse. But thoughts, ideas, where do you guys stand on that?
Yeah, does anybody have any opinion on that? Pursuing that with having staff pursue those options?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Terry. I think we can always say something maybe in the Pathfinder, like, hi, we would like to encourage the use of this. There's obviously no guideline or rule for it. The only thing that concerns me is creating a slippery slope that anytime someone doesn't like something, they're going to ask us to put up a sign like, we don't want you playing, softball in this park because you're too loud or something like that. I just don't want to create hey, if you don't like it, just, call Dan and he'll put up a sign for you. I want to avoid that.
I would
I
agree.
think,
I would agree
yeah.
with that.
That's my biggest concern.
What's our utilization of tennis courts versus pickleball? Are we
Oh, Aaron?
So what do you mean utilization?
availability?
Generally,
Or
like
do
just,
we have a lot of contention for pickleball courts still? Do we
Yes.
have
Yeah.
well,
Across
And in
across
that
the park,
community.
or just there specifically.
pickleball versus tennis?
We don't
Are we
go-
locking in one or the other?
so to my knowledge, since Tate Woods has been open, that seems to have at least temporarily quenched the thirst of the pickleball community. We haven't heard requests,
That's fine.
for anything further. Tennis, we've really not had any issues with people saying that we don't have adequate tennis court availability.
And truthfully, from the public, engagement that we've had at these meetings, there is a giant pickleball community in that active lifestyle community that has moved to, you move to Green Trails for an active lifestyle and you want parks and
Yes.
you want
but if you-
recreation that you use.
But you can't really reserve them. And if you're going to go someplace just to try and get a court available, you're more likely to go to where there are many courts
Right.
and you have a better chance of finding
Right.
an available one.
I do know when we went through the strategic master plan a year or two ago, like statistically for tennis courts, like we are at that time technically overserved,
Correct.
like compared to the nation.
By over 3 times.
Yeah, it was like a significant amount.
Oh,
a
yeah.
Huge amount.
Oh, yeah, it was a huge.
And there's pickleball in Arbor Ridge too, and obviously
Community.
Tate and community and Green Trails.
Um,
And are we getting complaints from Arbor Ridge or Tate Woods or
No.
anything? Because those are in subdivisions kind of too,
Right.
so, okay.
Tim, did you have an opinion? We had Wendy?
I was kind of with Terry that I'm definitely open to exploring like signage. Like I know Wendy, you used the word signage, but like I'm not opposed to like having something by that one particular court of just like, hey, this is a neighborhood park. Be aware of your neighbors. Maybe-
Encouraging the use of,
yeah, and maybe
quiet balls.
maybe there's a QR code to like here's information on quiet paddles, balls, whatever. Like I clearly like I agree with Terry. We can't enforce that, but like you can spread the information.
Can I add some information?
Please,
If
yeah.
that's okay. So I was kind of hoping it was mentioned under the public comment, but Superintendent Pratcher and I met with Vetus and Margarita yesterday to discuss opportunities to try to move forward, to try to get on the same page. And I believe at the end of that conversation, we agreed that we would recommend to the park board that instead of installing that gate, that we, exactly what you're talking about is kind of up our game, so to speak, on promoting that these are highly recommended to be use of quiet balls in particular, because there's one ball that the USA Pickleball Association has in fact endorsed as a quiet ball. And I know that's something that Vitas has been mentioning for quite a while now. But the issue had always been our ability to enforce it, or appetite to enforce it, whether it's the Park District or the Lisle Police Department. And we reiterated that yesterday, that while they want it to be enforced, there's no practical way to do it, even though there's other communities around the country that have. Lisle, the Park District has not demonstrated a desire to allocate resources like that. And probably more importantly, the Lisle Police Department isn't willing to do that either. That being said, when we met yesterday, we talked about some opportunities, and that was what came up is that Matalowskis had said that if we can put more conspicuous sign up that says, hey, these are quiet courts, and then on the sign closer to the gate, amend that a little bit, because the signage there right now does in fact say that it's recommended that quiet equipment is used. And to Vitas's point, that a lot of people don't know what does that mean. So I think we can do better on explaining what are some options, or specifically just point people to the Gamma Librarian Ball, whether that's through a QR code and a page on our website that can be updated periodically if or as more equipment becomes quote unquote certified or endorsed by the Pickleball Association. We were honestly, John and I'll speak for John if that's okay. We were surprised, to be honest, that they were willing to go that route without enforcing it, but just strongly recommending it. Honestly, and I think it's appropriate to say here, but I think part of our frustration, and I think part of theirs, is that we've done some things that they've asked us to do, and they just keep coming back and wanting more. And we did mention that yesterday is what gives us the confidence that if you're okay with this today, with us strongly encouraging or recommending the use and providing more information on where to purchase these or acquire these balls, what makes us think that you're not going to come back 6 months from now or a year from now and say, that's not enough, we need you to do more? Because in our opinion anyway, that seems to have been the pattern. But he just repeatedly said yesterday that he's willing to sign something, he's willing to be held accountable to, if we can do this, that he believes that people will eventually pay attention and honor that. And I think, like Jeff said, they would go somewhere else, where there are no, restrictions or recommendations on limiting.
But to be clear, you're not recommending restrictions, because
No.
restrictions would be a policy change, and we're not
No,
looking at
exactly. That was
policy. We're looking at a recommendation.
Right. It really, our point is, it's nothing different than what's out there today. We are encouraging it's not policy. We're not in a position to enforce it. But we're strongly encouraging that. So to take that, ratchet that up a step or two, to make it a little more obvious to people. And I think Wendy or Commissioner Nadeau with something in the Pathfinder, the GTA Pathfinder, to announce that we're really trying to encourage the use of this. We can even provide a QR code there to bring to either our website or the Gamma Ball website. So that's where we're at. For the first time in a long time, I'll be honest with you, we felt positive when we left, that we were, at least it seemed like we were on the same page. Again, I kind of hoped that would have been mentioned in the public comment, just to have it a matter of public record. But that is what I'm saying as I guess I don't know if I'm testifying so much, but summarizing what we discussed yesterday.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
So how much do these balls cost? Are they a premium?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you how much, if they're more or less expensive than other ones.
They do play a little differently.
I think it's within the same,
Yep.
yeah,
I think-
it's not a significant
Yeah, I
difference.
think they're the
one way or
same.
The other, to know,
Okay.
yeah.
But we're ready to spend a potential good amount of money for the lock. And, maybe we could offer those balls at a discount here at the desk.
That is what some of the other communities do. That they provide directions if you need to purchase or borrow these balls. You can go to the rec center. if that's something we want to do, that's fine. I don't know that we would get them back. I mean,
Yeah, I think you have to count on they
I-
just be gone.
I'd sell them at a discount. So.
Right.
And I don't know what the numbers are here, but if
Sure.
you were to set aside, $500, $1,000 toward
So if we sell them for
getting these
10,
balls into the community.
It's a bad idea, honestly, because that's not actually a financial loss on our part. And it's not something where it's local to the court, right? They'd have to come here to the park district office during park district hours, just like you would right now,
and
right?
give
If you
them some
wanted to
information
get a
about,
pool pass or something, yeah.
because my concern with any of that is making recreation cost prohibitive to people that are exercising and also restricting people's ability to be able to recreate how they want. But I think that if we do offer that,
Yeah, it costs.
At least it-
Yeah. I mean,
is
yeah.
less restrictive to people because I like to see.
Right.
hey, we're
Just
part
to
of the
get-
solution.
Get them,
Okay.
try them, see how they play, maybe
Right.
they'll enjoy it.
I mean, but I think that the reality is people are still going to play with the ball they want to play with. And I think,
You can try it.
But if we
Yeah.
can get them to try this one.
Yeah.
Well, the idea would be, and it sounds like there's some nodding heads or a consensus, but the idea would be for John and I to meet again with Vitas and Margarita to discuss specifically what signage we would put where, whether or not we want to explore making some of these balls available, and then come back in July with here's the plan. Because I do want, I think we all do, we want to make sure that this is kind of the be all end all. We have discussed even recently that we want to put an end to this issue. I know the Village of Lisle, informal conversations I've had, they too want to put an end to this, and I know that the neighbors want to put an end to it too. But again, based on our conversation and meeting yesterday, we feel that we've got to that point. So I will honestly expect that next month that we'll hear the support, assuming we can hold to what we talked about yesterday.
I would have appreciated it, I think, hearing that in public comment from actually the residents. And that was not the tone that I heard tonight in what was said. So I have a little bit of trepidation that this is going to be another one of those futile efforts on our part, that we're going to direct staff time out there and that we'll research signage or get signage. And we've, again, not to quote Wendy, but then for one person, I'm putting up a sign for something. And I mean, well, I'm sympathetic, but that is the tone of the public comment today doesn't reflect what you're telling me that the conversation was yesterday. So I want to be clear on that. So I'm a little conflicted. Thank you,
I
Dan.
am too.
Yes, okay.
My thought, just to.
Those are my
conclude-
concerns.
Yeah, and I think those are all valid concerns. I think to alleviate some of that, I think that the how we dictate the verbiage on proposed signage should be directed by staff in coordination with our attorneys. If we want to involve residents in opinion, especially residents in the area where the signs would be posted, I think that's fine once we've established it. I'm not a fan of calling it a quiet court. That's something, I mean, and I don't want to nitpick, specific wording, but I don't think the court itself is a quiet court. It's a neighborhood court that we want to respect
Like that.
the production of noise to, in consideration of our neighbors. But again, I think that's all stuff that I think your team, Dan, is very, very capable of putting together, and then obviously getting legal input on how we say it in such a way. What I don't want to do is create verbiage in any way that could insinuate the change of policy or the change of regulation. But and I agree, we do need to be very forward. If we're going to post a sign, it needs to be very clear that what we're trying to say is we're encouraging you to take advantage of alternative options that are good not only for you to continue playing, but are also good for the residents in the area. So it's a win-win.
So by hearing, do we want to direct? I'm sorry, Tim, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm gonna finish it up. Yeah, I'm good.
Do we want then, so I guess, what am I hearing, how we're going to direct staff? I mean, is this something that we're going to try and then to just, is our last ditch effort here as a board to put up signage, really encouraging it with QR codes to links, possibly offering balls at a discount at the front? Quiet balls.
That would be my opinion.
Everybody
I
kind of in a
really like Jeff's idea of having, at least looking into what
Sure.
the financial investment would be to having balls available at the front
That's a
desk.
good idea.
I don't want to go over the top with it because you might just find that people prefer to buy them themselves online and have them shipped to their house or go to the store and get them anyway. But I think having them available at the park district office is an additional step even that says, not only are we telling you to do this, we're making it as easy as possible for you to accomplish this feat.
And anytime you get someone in the door, it's a good thing. So.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And it's cheaper than the quiet ball vending machine installed at the.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we would have the ones that were approved right by the,
Absolutely.
yeah, the
Yep.
thing.
So
Okay,
we
I
won't,
guess we're
Okay, so
directing
those
you.
Two things.
But I guess that's kind of our direction, from the board. I mean, I'm not,
we won't do anything. What I think what we want to do is meet with, do what you were saying, Commissioner Tapella, meet back up with, with the neighbors, confirm our mutual understanding of what we can expect of each other. And before we buy a sign, buy a ball, make a separate web page, anything, we will come back, get your stamp of approval, get the neighbor's stamp of approval, and then go from there.
okay, I just want to, I want to be cognizant. I know we have new board members. Our staff has spent a really, really lot of time on this issue. And I think, we just want to, I appreciate you, Dan, that we want to make sure, I don't have, a lot of, I don't have a lot of hope that, this is going to be what the neighbors wanted. They declined this a year ago. I didn't hear anything here tonight to, encourage me that they will be willing to accept it this time. But for me, kind of this is I feel like it is kind of our last ditch effort of talking about this and coming up with I feel like we've had some really good solutions here tonight. Everybody's collaborated about. So we are making an effort within the community to make a change over there. Does anybody have last thoughts on that?
Okay.
So I guess we'll talk about this again next month.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Jeff. There. New business. Is there any discussion about to authorize the execution of a contract with Hitchcock Design Group for architectural services for the Community Park South Shelter?
No, I thought it looked good.
Okay.
Looks good. Yeah.
Good.
Looks
So
good.
we need to make a motion.
Yep,
Yeah.
I will entertain a motion to authorize the execution of a contract with Hitchcock Design Group for architectural services for the Community Park South Shelter and Pathway Connection Project in the amount of $37,800.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can I get a roll call vote?
Sure. Commissioner Pereira,
Aye.
Commissioner Nadeau,
Aye.
Commissioner Wessel,
Aye.
Commissioner Tapella,
Aye.
President Alpeter.
Aye, motion passes. Staff reports were submitted. The Lisle East Ogden Avenue TIF and the Lincoln Avenue TIF. I think staff just needs direction for the, I guess they're just looking for consensus for the review board, that it does meet the parameters of the TIF. The Joint Review Board will meet to decide if the TIF request meets the guidelines of the TIF requirements.
So just to confirm, I'd had like my written report says, we'd had confirmed this with Park District Legal Counsel. I had a conversation this afternoon with the special counsel the Village of Lisle has retained to review the TIF documents to confirm my understanding of the purpose of the Joint Review Board. And I even asked specifically to this individual too, it doesn't really matter what a taxing district's opinion is or whether or not they think it's a good idea. The purpose of the Joint Review Board is to determine whether or not it checks all the correct boxes. And everyone involved in the process, from the Village of Lisle, from their TIF consultants, from their special counsel, all agree that it does check all the boxes. So in the conversations that Superintendent Silver and I have had together, the conversations we've had with village staff, and the exchanges made during and between the Joint Review Board meetings give us the confidence that they both do in fact check all the boxes. There is an offer that the Village of Lisle has made to share in the increment to try to cushion the blow, so to speak, that some of the other taxing districts had been vocalizing, where each, it would be an intergovernmental agreement. And this is, maybe it's neither here nor there for purposes of the Joint Review Board, but the village is trying to make attempts to work with the taxing districts to the extent they can to manage the impact that these other districts think they will have or that this TIF will create.
Gotcha.
But it's for the purposes of this agenda topic and the upcoming Joint Review Board meetings next week. We're just looking for consensus that we can cast a vote in the affirmative that these two TIFs actually do in fact meet the criteria.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they do.
Yeah, meets the
Okay.
criteria.
I have concerns with the one on 53 in the floodplain and what development they can actually get to go in there. And if they need to devote a lot of that property just for retention, what's left to be, tax generating. So I don't have a problem with taking the next step. But I think we need to be realistic about what we can expect to be built on 53.
Sure.
Some of the projections.
But
are a
this,
little
the joint
dicey.
review board doesn't actually, we're not voting for it. We're just saying that it's within the parameters of
Yep.
what fits the guidelines for the TIF district. And that's, Dan, thanks for the due diligence on that with checking with all those legal counsels.
No, sure,
Yeah.
that's okay. I think to the extent that you're concerned, if that's something that we want to take up at some point with the village, either ourselves or with the others, that's okay, but that would be outside the Joint Review Board's purview.
I agree. I think, and it's a confusing topic, right? I think that the initial thought is that they're looking for support from all the different groups to support the TIF itself. I've had several residents who've reached out and asked me about the TIF and about what the park district's position is, and I've redirected them to village meetings because in a lot of cases, if they have thoughts and opinions, the village ultimately is the one making making the decisions and putting all the data together for this, the individual units. So the park district, while yes, we provide our oversight, exactly like what you've said, and approval that they're actually doing it in the correct manner, we don't really have oversight or opinion or input on that piece. So
That was well put.
Thank you.
The Riverbend Golf Club Restaurant update. Highly anticipated.
Well, John, you want to take this one?
Yeah.
Is that what you sure?
Yeah.
John's been up to his shoulders, at least in that, him and Joe and the team over at Riverbend, Scott to an extent too, so.
Yeah, so a lot of details submitted in the packet, so happy to answer any questions. We've been open 7 days a week now for about a week, serving alcohol and soft drinks. So, some of the weather at the golf course is limited people stopping in, but we are getting the occasional golf league outing that's staying after rounds. We've had 2 different successful rentals of the former dining room space, which is going very well.
Yay.
It seems to be very desired location, and we have pretty fair pricing, and it comes with, easy access in and out. So we look to continue to expand that and probably continue to offer rental opportunities throughout the year, even after the golf course closes. So we're just working on getting some of our staff members certified for our food handling advanced certification so that we can comply with the health department's regulations, and we're prioritizing that. But obviously pretty busy time of the season, so trying to get everything while we also onboard new staff to fulfill the bartending positions. That's kind of the current struggle, but we're hoping, within the coming weeks, we get all that completed and we can turn our operations to include food, which obviously we want to provide as soon as possible.
This is good. I just want to say a giant thank you to you, John. I mean, I can't believe how you just like jumped in there. I don't think anybody here really even realizes. I mean, you guys went from like out of the blue, we lost our thing. You guys moved everything out of there, secured the location, got it cleaned, facilitated. The busiest time of the season when we're opening pools and golf courses and staff at camp, and we have all of our parks guys over there working, packing up liquor and abandoned
Food,
everything, rotten food. You have no idea what these guys have seen. I mean, I'm definitely going to say above and beyond your call of your job. And just the mass amount of hours that you've spent over there, just ensuring that we could open this in a timely manner. I can't believe how quickly You've like just pulled everybody together to really, what Scott Hamilton's been over there, right? Yeah, I mean, all of you guys have been over there just
Thank you.
to
Yeah.
make this a reality for us. I mean, it was just 2 short months ago we were talking about this, and it's amazing that it's even open and as far as it's come.
Thank
And you
you.
probably learned more than you ever thought you would know about restaurant
Still
business.
learning a lot to know. But no, like we said, it's been total team effort. Aaron and all his guys.
Yes, Aaron's
and
been there.
just Joe over there, just, a couple of months ago, he was just golf. Now he's learning everything there is to learn
I
about
was-
our operations and restaurant and all that stuff. So
And I was going to say a big thank you to Joe as well, who I know has amended his hours so that he can be there. What a great hire, jump in guy that we have, proving why it's really important to have a golf course manager.
And we have
Okay, I
everything
just-
we need now as far as permitting on the sign and
I'm sorry.
I know we were waiting on permitting on the sign.
We're good.
Okay.
The sign,
Time's up. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Fantastic.
yeah.
And
signs up, website has been up. We are ready to roll with some banners once we get the food ready to roll out to. So
are there any insurance concerns now that we're serving alcohol and anything special we need to?
Nope, we've got our liquor permit, everything. Yeah.
Because they have been serving,
Yeah.
the golf course, like you can buy beer in the pro shop.
Okay.
So we've always had a liquor license over there.
And we're still just doing like quick service food, right? We're not
Correct.
going into the like, okay.
yep, we'll be looking to partner with Sammy's Pub and Grill for the prepackaged catered options that they would provide, and then to have some more affordable, lower cost options, I guess, because the other options are affordable, but some simpler things like hot dog and pizzas would be the next
Chips.
step. Some chips, just side items
Chips.
like that.
Yeah. Chips.
A rental, they're going to have liquor. They need to be buying it from us.
So yes, so for the rental arrangements, they get space, the tables and the chairs. They have to provide their own food if they're doing that through a catering option. We get our certificate of insurance from them, and then the bar, all the beverages go through us, soft drinks included.
I just want to, again, thank everybody, but Aaron, who's, by the way, his 29th anniversary with the Park District is tomorrow.
Thank you too, because I know you've been over there a ton.
A real lot, and the resourcefulness and the institutional knowledge that he's had has never been more appreciated than the last 6 weeks or so. So
And just
thank you.
even, I don't know, and really just the impact of what they had to do over there, and Aaron facilitating, like, where are we going to now put a hand wash station, and where are we going to do just reworking space, like kind of on the fly, having to come
Totally.
up with it so that we could stay within our time limits that we already set for ourselves.
Yep. And
So
even Scott with the IT needs, getting new TVs, getting our Chicago sports package up and ready to make it more of the sports bar vibe and just cater to the golf community. So there's been total team effort.
And we've got a great group, never been more proud.
I'm excited to come golf.
Yeah.
absolutely. So now we know where you've been hanging out over there, right? Do you have an office over there yet, John?
Nope.
The 7th hole.
7th hole, yeah, there's John out there sleeping on the 7th hole because he's there like 18 hours a day. C-SPAR report is submitted.
Can I add something real quick? C-SPAR, I don't know, Carrie, you know Kathy Morava.
Yeah.
She's retiring after, gosh, I think 42 years.
Are they having a party
43?
bar
Yeah, I'll give you one guess where they're having the retirement party.
over there at the
Yeah,
at River Bend?
at River Bend.
Good.
Yeah. I think that's next week.
25th,
25th?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, I'll be at that.
5:00.
Yep.
Are we all invited?
We own the place, so you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, you have to buy your own, but.
Right. Right. But I'm sure Kathy would love to see
Yeah.
you, Carrie, for sure. But she's a Lisle resident. I understand she's going to be relocating to Wisconsin to.
Her mom's place in? Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
But no, she's
Big
had a heck of a
community.
career, and she's been such a great supporter of the Park District. Great communicator. We'll miss her. Big shoes to fill, but congratulations on a heck of a run for her.
I did have a quick question. Do you know the date this year for the Believe and Achieve?
Yes,
Last year it was on our board meeting.
somewhere tucked way in here, and it's not
Okay.
on Thursday. They're going to alternate between, I think, Wednesdays and Thursdays so that we can make it again.
Could you possibly put it in our next board? I'd
Absolutely.
encourage anybody, if you have a free time on your calendar, the Believe and Achieve banquet. It's usually at the Abington. It's like a really
It's a lot of fun.
It's a
Yeah,
very
it's in
special
January.
event. It's a very great special event that showcases a lot of the abilities of our C-SPAR participants.
Yeah, it's usually in January, but I'll get that out to all of you.
In September last
Mm-mm.
Nope.
I don't think so.
year. Okay. Just I.
Either way, you will get that in an
Yeah,
update.
okay.
Thanks.
Officer reports, I have nothing to report. Financial reports. Scott?
Scott,
Silver,
Abel?
are you there?
I'm still here. All of our money is either FDIC insured or fully collateralized, so all of our money is fully protected. This year, the enterprise fund for the golf course is $24,000 ahead of last year at this time. We are up $20,000 in revenue, and our expenses are down by 4 for a net of 24 to the good. Though the enterprise fund is not making as much because we have no income from the restaurant side, but overall the golf course is carrying the load as usual and doing well. And we did make an investment in Winfield, the village of Winfield's 90-day bond for $317,000, earning 5%, which was effective June 1st, and we'll get our money back on September 1st.
Thank you, Scott.
Yep.
All right. Do any other commissioners have any other commissioner reports?
I just wanted to say thank you to the Park District for their participation in the Hokusai event a couple Saturdays ago. It was awesome and loved seeing everybody there. So just wanted to say thanks.
Yeah, for me, I'm just glad it's summer. Brandon's Camp Summer Quest, and he's joined the Lisle, the Sea Lion swim team.
Perfect.
So I pretty much just live in the park at this point.
Yes.
So,
Right.
but yeah, no. I'm
John's
excited
got
to
a
come.
tent you can borrow, so there you go.
And, thank you to the board for allowing me to finish Commissioner Dabrowski's term. So looking for the next 2 years.
Welcome back, Tim.
Yeah.
Brandon's first comment when I told him that, hey, they asked me to join back was, does that mean we get to be in the parade again? So he's excited to ride the float on the 3rd,
Absolutely.
or sorry, the 4th.
Start working on his
Yeah.
throwing.
But other than that, I'm good.
Same for us. I mean, we're excited. Aria just started teen camp this year. So she was very excited to try something new. It's been fantastic. She comes home exhausted every day with fun stories, and which has been great. We went out to the food truck event, saw a handful of you guys out there. We got stuck in the rain this week, which was a lot of fun. But looks like a nice collaborative event within the village. So I'd encourage anyone who hasn't been out there yet to get out there.
Nothing?
Nothing for me.
All right.
I got nothing.
If there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? The meeting is adjourned at,
7:58.
thank you.
Thank you.